Welcome to Part 3 of our Real Estate Exam Prep Series. In this section, we'll cover 100 questions from the national portion of the exam, key laws, principles, and practices you'll need to understand for any state exam. And don't miss what's happening in the lower corner. It could be a game changer for your prep. We'll explain in a minute. Ready? Let's get started.
Real estate principles. Basic concepts of real estate. What does the principle of assemblage mean in real estate? Is it A, combining smaller parcels of land into a single larger one to increase value? B, dividing a large parcel into smaller lots for development? C, improving a single property to increase its marketability? Or D, changing the use of a property for a different purpose? The answer is A, combining smaller parcels of land into a single larger one to increase value. Assemblage is the process of merging two or more parcels of land into one larger parcel to potentially increase the value or utility of the land, likely providing greater development opportunities. Which of the following best describes the concept of fixtures in real estate? Is it A, personal property that is permanently attached to real property? B, mobile belongings within a property? C, temporary structures added for specific events? Or D, legal rights associated with property ownership? The answer is A, personal property that is permanently attached to real property. Fixtures are items that were originally personal property but become real property when attached to land or buildings in a way that is seen as permanent, such as built-in appliances or lighting.
Have you noticed the code in the bottom corner? Next time you're stumped, take that code to birdsey.ai for immediate help and a free study session with Birdsey, your personal AI study partner. Plus, you'll get access to hundreds of additional questions, helping you move closer to passing your exam with confidence. The next time you're feeling unsure or stuck, give it a try.
What is the primary purpose of zoning laws in real estate? Is it A, to regulate land use and development within a municipality? B, to determine property taxes based on land value? C, to enforce building codes and standards? Or D, to establish property boundaries? The answer is A, to regulate land use and development within a municipality. Zoning laws designate specific uses for different areas within a municipality, e.g. residential, commercial, industrial, and help ensure that land use is planned and sustainable, aligning with community goals and regulations. Property ownership. What distinguishes a leasehold estate from a freehold estate? Is it A, leasehold estates offer indefinite ownership? B, freehold estates typically involve renting property? C, leasehold estates provide the tenant with exclusive possession and use for a limited time? Or D, freehold estates are only for residential properties? The answer is C, leasehold estates provide the tenant with exclusive possession and use for a limited time. A leasehold estate grants the tenant possession and use of the property for a fixed duration as per the lease agreement, distinguishing it from the indefinite nature of freehold estates. Which of the following best describes tenants in common ownership? Is it A, all parties must receive their interest at the same time? B, each owner has an undivided interest in the property? C, right of survivorship applies to all co-owners? Or D, ownership must be in equal shares? The answer is B, each owner has an undivided interest in the property. In tenants in common ownership, each individual owns a separately transferable interest in the property. Unlike joint tenancy, there is no right of survivorship, and shares do not have to be equal. What is a distinguishing feature of a fee simple defeasible estate? Is it A, it can only be transferred with the consent of all heirs? B, ownership is permanent and without conditions? C, the ownership is conditional and may revert to the grantor? Or D, it includes the right of survivorship? The answer is C. The ownership is conditional and may revert to the grantor. Fee simple, defeasible estates carry specific conditions that, if violated, can result in the property reverting to the original owner or another designated party. It's the highest form of ownership, but with restrictions. Types of property. What is an example of real property? Is it A, a house and the land on which it sits? B, a tenant's leasehold interest in an apartment? C, a real estate agent's license? Or D, a car parked in a driveway? The answer is A, a house and the land on which it sits. Real property encompasses land and its permanent attachments. This includes buildings, trees, and other fixtures. Personal property, in contrast, refers to movable items and intangible rights. Which of the following is considered personal property? Is it A, a farm's equipment? B, the mineral rights to a property? C, a barn on a farm? Or D, the trees planted in the orchard? The answer is A, a farm's equipment. Personal property includes items that aren't fixed permanently to land, such as farm equipment. In contrast, real property includes land and anything affixed to it, such as buildings and trees. What distinguishes real property from personal property? Is it A, its mobility? B, its cost? C, its ownership duration? Or D, its use for business or personal purposes? The answer is A, its mobility. The key characteristic that distinguishes real property from personal property is mobility. Real property involves immovable assets like land and buildings, while personal property includes movable items. Real versus personal property. Which of the following is generally considered to be part of real property? Is it A, a built-in microwave? B, a stock certificate? C, a swimming pool? Or D, a car parked in the garage? The answer is C, a swimming pool. Real property includes land and improvements permanently attached to it, such as buildings and fixtures like a swimming pool. Personal property is movable and not permanently affixed. Which fixture would likely be considered personal property if explicitly stated in a purchase agreement? Is it A, ceiling fan? B, built-in cabinetry? C, fencing around the yard? Or D, garden shed on a concrete foundation? The answer is A, ceiling fan. Items such as ceiling fans can be considered personal property if a purchase agreement explicitly states so. Otherwise, they can be considered fixtures, which are real property. What is the defining characteristic that classifies an item as real property? Is it A, mobility and ease of transfer? B, permanence and attachment to the land? C, the type of material it is made from? Or D, ownership by an individual or entity? The answer is B, permanence and attachment to the land. Real property refers to land and anything attached to it permanently. Personal property refers to movable items not attached to the land.
If you're finding this helpful, please take a minute to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more practice exams, useful tips, and complimentary study sessions with Birdsey.
Legal descriptions. In the rectangular survey system, what is the role of a township? Is it A, a township measures the distance of the property from the baseline? B, a township is a unit consisting of 36 sections, each 1 square mile? C, a township measures the longitude of a property? Or D, a township identifies the county where the property is located? The answer is B, a township is a unit consisting of 36 sections, each 1 square mile. Townships in the rectangular survey system help to divide land into manageable units, each roughly 6 miles square, containing 36 sections. What is a major advantage of using the lot and block method for legal descriptions? Is it A, it provides detailed boundary descriptions? B, It is simple and efficient for urban land layouts. C. It relies on physical landmarks. Or D. It uses a government grid system. The answer is B. It is simple and efficient for urban land layouts. The lot and block system simplifies legal descriptions for urban areas, providing clear and efficient parcel identification. Which type of legal description uses meridians and baselines as reference points to locate property accurately? Is it A. Meets and bounds, B. Rectangular survey system, C. Lot and block system, or D. Geodetic survey? The answer is B. Rectangular survey system. The rectangular survey system, also known as the government survey system, divides land into townships and sections using a set of principal meridians and baselines, providing an accurate and standardized method for describing property locations. Real estate contracts. Required elements of a contract. What legal principle requires some real estate contracts to be in writing? Is it A. Doctrine of estoppel, B. Statute of frauds, C. Caveat emptor, or D. Parole evidence rule? The answer is B. Statute of frauds. The statute of frauds requires certain types of contracts, including those for the sale of real estate, to be in writing to prevent fraud and perjury. In a real estate contract, what does the term mutual assent refer to? Is it A. The act of one party making an offer, B. Both parties agreeing to clearly understand the terms, C. The exchange of consideration, or D. A third party witnessing the contract? The answer is B. Both parties agreeing to clearly understand the terms. Mutual assent, also known as a meeting of the minds, is a required element of a real estate contract where both parties agree and clearly understand the contract terms. Which of the following best explains the importance of legal capacity in a real estate contract? Is it A. It allows minors to enter into contracts, B. Legal capacity ensures the contract is written and signed, C. It ensures all parties involved can legally understand and engage in the contract, or D. It allows the contract to be changed after signing? The answer is C. It ensures all parties involved can legally understand and engage in the contract. Legal capacity means that the parties involved must have the mental competency and legal age to understand and engage in a binding contract. This is crucial for the contract to be enforceable.
Notice the code in the corner? When you're stumped by a question, enter it at birdsey.ai for immediate help. Enjoy complimentary study sessions and access to hundreds of additional questions to help you pass your exam with confidence.
Types of contracts. What distinguishes a bilateral contract in real estate? Is it A. Only one party is bound to perform, B. Both parties have exchanged promises to perform certain actions, C. It is automatically void if not completed within a set time frame, or D. Only one party has made a promise? The answer is B. Both parties have exchanged promises to perform certain actions. A bilateral contract involves mutual promises between the parties, where each party is obligated to perform their part of the agreement. What is required for a contract to be considered a valid offer in real estate? Is it A. Consideration and capacity, B. Mutual consent and legal object, C. Clear terms and communication to the offeree, or D. Writing and signature? The answer is C. Clear terms and communication to the offeree. An offer in real estate must include definite terms and be communicated to the offeree for it to be valid and capable of acceptance. Which type of contract modification requires mutual consent in real estate? Is it A. Unilateral modification, B. Bilateral modification, C. Express modification, or D. Automatic modification? The answer is B. Bilateral modification. Bilateral modifications in real estate contracts need mutual consent from both parties to be valid. Changes made without agreement do not hold legal weight. Contract clauses and terms. What does the time is of the essence clause in a real estate contract signify? Is it A, the parties must perform their contractual duties within stated deadlines? B, the contract will automatically renew after a certain period? C, the parties can delay their performance of contractual duties without consequences? Or D, the seller is responsible for all repairs discovered during inspection? The answer is A, the parties must perform their contractual duties within stated deadlines. A time is of the essence clause means that the deadlines listed in the contract are essential and must be strictly adhered to, or legal consequences could follow. In a real estate contract, what does an escalation clause usually indicate? Is it A, the buyer promises to increase their offer if there are competing bids? B, the seller agrees to lower the price over time if the property does not sell? C, both parties agree to arbitrate any disputes that arise during the contract? Or D, the buyer will handle all major repairs up to a certain amount? The answer is A, the buyer promises to increase their offer if there are competing bids. An escalation clause in a contract allows the buyer to automatically increase their offer if there is a higher competing bid, helping them maintain a competitive position in competitive markets. Which clause in a real estate contract commonly specifies the period during which the buyer can perform due diligence activities such as inspections? Is it A, inspection clause, B, financing clause, C, other attorney review clause, or D, appraisal clause? The answer is A, inspection clause. The inspection clause in a real estate contract specifies the time period for the buyer to conduct property inspections and address any issues discovered. This ensures due diligence before finalizing the purchase. Negotiation and acceptance. Which of the following is considered evidence of acceptance in a real estate contract? Is it A, verbal agreement between buyer and seller? B, written confirmation signed by both parties? C, acknowledgement from a third-party witness? Or D, posting the offer on social media? The answer is B, written confirmation signed by both parties. Acceptance is typically evidenced by a written document signed by both the buyer and seller, ensuring that both parties agree to the terms of the contract. What is the primary goal during the negotiation phase of a real estate contract? Is it A, to find a property as soon as possible? B, to finalize an agreeable contract between buyer and seller? C, to ensure immediate closing of the deal? Or D, to ensure buyer financing is secured? The answer is B, to finalize an agreeable contract between buyer and seller. The negotiation phase aims to reach a mutual agreement on terms that both the buyer and seller find acceptable, leading to the formation of a binding contract. If a buyer makes a counteroffer, what happens to the original offer? Is it A, it remains valid until the counteroffer is accepted? B, it remains on the table for further negotiation? C, it is automatically nullified? Or D, it must be reconsidered by the seller? The answer is C, it is automatically nullified. In real estate transactions, a counteroffer nullifies the original offer. The counteroffer then becomes the current offer under consideration. Breach of contract and remedies. What is the legal term for the compensation equal to what was lost due to a breach of contract? Is it A, punitive damages, B, compensatory damages, C, nominal damages, or D, liquidated damages? The answer is B, compensatory damages. Compensatory damages are awarded to cover the actual loss suffered by the injured party due to the breach of contract. Which remedy allows a court to order the breaching party to perform the terms of the contract? Is it A, monetary damages, B, rescission, C, specific performance, or D, liquidated damages? The answer is C, specific performance. Specific performance is an equitable remedy that compels the breaching party to fulfill the terms of the contract, often used in real estate transactions. In a breach of contract, when are nominal damages typically awarded? Is it A, when significant losses are proven, B, when no actual loss is proven, C, when the parties agree to a fixed amount, or D, when compensatory damages are too small? The answer is B, when no actual loss is proven. Nominal damages are typically awarded when a breach of contract is proven, but the injured party does not suffer a measurable financial loss as a result.
If you're finding this helpful, please take a minute to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more practice exams, useful tips, and complimentary study sessions with Birdsey.
Real estate finance. Basic concepts of real estate finance. Which of the following best describes a balloon payment in a real estate loan? Is it A, a series of smaller payments made at the beginning of the loan term, B, a large lump sum payment due at the end of a loan term, C, monthly payments that gradually increase over time, or D, the initial down payment for a home purchase? The answer is B, a large lump sum payment due at the end of a loan term. A balloon payment refers to a large lump sum payment required at the end of a balloon mortgage term, often after smaller periodic payments. What best describes equity in the context of real estate finance? Is it A, the amount of loan balance still owed to the lender, B, the difference between the property's market value and the outstanding mortgage balance, C, the total interest paid over the life of the loan, or D, the initial down payment made during the purchase of the property? The answer is B, the difference between the property's market value and the outstanding mortgage balance. Equity in real estate finance is the difference between the current market value of the property and the outstanding mortgage balance, representing the homeowner's ownership stake in the property. How does a higher loan-to-value (LTV) ratio generally impact a mortgage? Is it A, it decreases the interest rate on the mortgage, B, it increases the risk for the lender, C, it shortens the loan term, or D, it increases the amount of down payment required? The answer is B, it increases the risk for the lender. A higher loan-to-value (LTV) ratio indicates that the borrower has made a smaller down payment relative to the property value, which increases the lender's risk. Types of loans and mortgages. Which type of mortgage allows borrowers to pay only interest for a period before principal payments are required? Is it A, fixed-rate mortgage, B, interest-only mortgage, C, adjustable-rate mortgage, or D, balloon mortgage? The answer is B, interest-only mortgage. An interest-only mortgage allows the borrower to pay only the interest on the loan for a specified period before principal payments are required. This can lower the initial monthly payments, but eventually the full loan balance must be repaid. Which type of loan allows a borrower to build equity by making payments higher than the minimum required? Is it A, interest-only loan, B, graduated payment mortgage, C, amortizing loan, or D, adjustable rate mortgage? The answer is C, amortizing loan. Amortizing loans help borrowers build equity as they make payments towards both principal and interest according to a fixed schedule over the loan term. What is a primary characteristic of a bridge loan? Is it A, it is long-term financing for home purchases, B, it helps borrowers transition from one property to another, C. It has a fixed interest rate for the entire term. Or D. It requires no down payment. The answer is B. It helps borrowers transition from one property to another. Bridge loans are used to finance the purchasing of a new property while waiting for the sale of an existing property, covering the transition period temporarily. Loan qualification and application process. How does a credit score impact the loan qualification process? Is it A? It determines the exact loan amount a borrower can receive. B. It affects the interest rate and loan conditions offered by the lender. C. It solely determines the eligibility for federal loan programs. Or D. It reflects only the borrower's income status. The answer is B. It affects the interest rate and loan conditions offered by the lender. Credit scores impact interest rates, loan types, and conditions. Higher scores generally mean better terms, while lower scores may lead to higher rates. This is critical in loan qualification. What role does employment history play in the loan qualification process? Is it A? It shows past addresses of the borrower. B. It demonstrates the borrower's stability and ability to repay. C. It verifies the borrower's previous employers. Or D. It details past job responsibilities. The answer is B. It demonstrates the borrower's stability and ability to repay. Lenders examine job stability and continuous employment over a period, typically 2 years, to assess reliability and repayment ability, making it a key factor in loan qualifications. Why is the loan application process important for a lender? Is it A, to verify the borrower's identity for legal reasons? B, to assess the borrower's creditworthiness and repayment capability? C, to ensure the borrower's employment is stable? Or D, to estimate the value of the property being mortgaged? The answer is B, to assess the borrower's creditworthiness and repayment capability. The loan application process is crucial for lenders to examine a borrower's financial stability, credit history, and repayment capacity, ensuring that the borrower meets the criteria for loan approval. Government programs like FHA and VA. What is a key eligibility requirement for VA loans? Is it A, high debt-to-income ratio? B, veteran status? C, property located in urban areas? Or D, minimum credit score of 750? The answer is B, veteran status. VA loans are available to eligible veterans, active duty service members, and some surviving spouses, providing favorable loan terms without the requirement for a down payment. Which of the following is a primary advantage of FHA loans for homebuyers? Is it A, no down payment is required? B, higher loan limits than conventional loans? C, lower credit score requirements? Or D, no mortgage insurance payments? The answer is C, lower credit score requirements. FHA loans are designed to help first-time and low to moderate income homebuyers by offering lower credit score requirements compared to conventional loans, making them more accessible. Which entity assists in the processing and administration of VA loans? Is it A, Department of Agriculture? B, Federal Housing Administration? C, Department of Veterans Affairs? Or D, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau? The answer is C, Department of Veterans Affairs. The Department of Veterans Affairs, VA, is responsible for administering VA loans, which are designed to help eligible veterans, active duty service members, and their families obtain home loans. Mortgage market and regulatory bodies. Which entity primarily regulates and supervises mortgage brokers in the United States? Is it A, Federal Reserve? B, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, CFPB? C, Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD? Or D, Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC? The answer is B, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, CFPB. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau regulates and supervises mortgage brokers, ensuring they comply with consumer protection laws and fair lending practices. What is the purpose of the Home Mortgage Disclosure Act, HMDA? Is it A, to disclose the annual percentage rate to borrowers? B, to report detailed loan data to regulators and the public? C, to provide loan guarantees for veterans? Or D, to ensure compliance with the Fair Housing Act? The answer is B, to report detailed loan data to regulators and the public. The Home Mortgage Disclosure Act, HMDA, mandates that financial institutions report loan data, enabling the identification and analysis of discriminatory lending patterns and trends in the mortgage market. What is the main objective of the Real Estate Settlement Procedures Act, RESPA? Is it A, to regulate advertising practices? B, to increase transparency and decrease costs in real estate transactions? C, to facilitate the secondary mortgage market? Or D, to ensure against default on mortgage loans? The answer is B, to increase transparency and decrease costs in real estate transactions. The Real Estate Settlement Procedures Act, RESPA, seeks to ensure transparency in the real estate transaction process and safeguard consumers from unnecessarily high settlement charges. Property valuation and appraisal. Basic valuation concepts. What does the principle of anticipation suggest in property appraisal? Is it A, property value is influenced by future benefits or detriments? B, the value of land is determined by its most profitable use? C, properties will only sell if they conform with neighborhood standards? Or D, the cost of income-producing property is determined solely by its potential rental income? The answer is A, property value is influenced by future benefits or detriments. The principle of anticipation in property appraisal suggests that the value of a property is tied to the expected future benefits or detriments, such as income or expenses it will generate. What is the principle of regression in property valuation? Is it A, the value of higher quality property is negatively affected by the presence of lower quality properties nearby? B, the increasing utility of a property enhances its market value? C, property value is derived from the balance of improvements and land utilization? Or D, the value of real estate depreciates over time regardless of the market conditions? The answer is A, the value of higher quality property is negatively affected by the presence of lower quality properties nearby. The principle of regression indicates that the value of a better property will decrease when it is located near properties of much lower quality or value. What is the concept of economic obsolescence in property valuation? Is it A, the property depreciates due to external factors such as a changing neighborhood? B, loss in property value due to wear and tear? C, reduced property value due to outdated design? Or D, increase in property value due to improvements? The answer is A, the property depreciates due to external factors such as a changing neighborhood. Economic obsolescence refers to the loss in property value caused by external factors such as economic changes, environmental shifts, or nearby property changes, making it less desirable. Methods of valuation. Which method of valuation is most useful for vacant land? Is it A, income approach? B, cost approach? C, sales comparison approach? Or D, capitalization approach? The answer is C, sales comparison approach. The sales comparison approach is effective for valuing vacant land by comparing it to similar plots that have recently sold in the area. Which one of the following best describes the key concept of the cost approach in property valuation? Is it A, comparing the rental income of similar properties? B, estimating the cost to replace the building minus depreciation? C, analyzing recent sales of comparable properties? Or D, evaluating the property's current market price? The answer is B, estimating the cost to replace the building minus depreciation. The cost approach involves determining the cost to replace an existing property, adjusting for physical, functional, and economic depreciation. It's most effective for unique or newer properties where comparables are limited. What is a fundamental aspect of the income approach in property valuation? Is it A, analyzing the highest and best use of the property? B, considering the potential income generation of the property? C, estimating the replacement cost of the building? Or D, assessing the market trends in the neighborhood? The answer is B, considering the potential income generation of the property. The income approach values a property based on its capacity to generate income. This method is especially useful for income-producing properties like rental apartments, shopping centers, and office buildings. It often involves techniques such as the capitalization rate. Comparative market analysis. What is the importance of location when conducting a comparative market analysis, CMA? Is it A, location affects the property tax calculation? B, location determines the value of land? C, location is irrelevant in a comparative market analysis? Or D, location affects only commercial properties? The answer is B, location determines the value of land. Location is a fundamental factor in a comparative market analysis as it significantly influences property values. The desirability of the neighborhood, accessibility to amenities, and market trends are heavily tied to the property's location, making it crucial for assessment. Why should similar properties used in a CMA have similar square footage? Is it A, to ensure the CMAs are based on the same construction materials? B, to ensure the properties offer comparable living space? C, to verify the accuracy of neighborhood safety statistics? Or D, to confirm that the properties have the same utility costs? The answer is B, to ensure the properties offer comparable living space. Comparable properties in a CMA should have similar square footage to provide a fair comparison of the living space. This results in a more accurate assessment of the property's market value as it aligns closely with the size and layout of the property in question. How does the condition of comparable properties influence a CMA? Is it A, condition affects the assessed tax value? B, condition impacts the functional utility of the properties? C, condition is only significant for luxury properties? Or D, condition has no impact on market value? The answer is B, condition impacts the functional utility of the properties. The condition of comparable properties is crucial in a CMA as it impacts their functional utility, aesthetic appeal, and overall market value. Properties in better condition are generally valued higher, underscoring condition as a key factor for accurate market analysis. Appraisal process and techniques. Which form of obsolescence is irreversible? Is it A, functional obsolescence? B, external obsolescence? C, physical deterioration? Or D, operational obsolescence? The answer is B, external obsolescence. External obsolescence refers to depreciation caused by factors outside the property, such as neighborhood decline or adverse economic conditions, making it typically irreversible. How would an appraiser determine the highest and best use of a property? Is it A, comparing similar properties? B, analyzing the property's current use? C, evaluating the most financially feasible use? Or D, calculating replacement costs? The answer is C, evaluating the most financially feasible use. To determine the highest and best use, an appraiser evaluates the use that is legally permissible, physically possible, financially feasible, and results in the highest value. What is functional obsolescence in real estate appraisal? Is it A, loss in value due to wear and tear? B. Depreciation caused by external factors. C. Decline in value due to outdated features. Or D. Reduction in value due to market trends. The answer is C. Decline in value due to outdated features. Functional obsolescence refers to a reduction in property value due to outdated features, design, or utility. This could include issues like poor layout or lack of modern amenities.
Don't forget to comment below with your tips, challenges, and thoughts on exam preparation. Your experiences can make a big difference for others.
Types of value, market, assessed, etc. Which type of value is primarily based on the current usage and productivity of a property? Is it A. Market value, B. Utility value, C. Assessed value, or D. Investment value? The answer is B. Utility value. Utility value is the value of a property based on its use and productivity. This type of value is significant in determining how much benefit a property can bring to a specific user. What type of property value is typically determined by an appraisal for lending purposes? Is it A. Market value, B. Assessed value, C. Insurance value, or D. Liquidation value? The answer is A. Market value. Market value is the likely price a property would sell for in an open market. Appraisers often determine this value during the lending process to determine the loan amount. How is the assessed value of a property primarily used? Is it A. For determining market price, B. For calculating property taxes, C. For determining insurance premiums, or D. For establishing the property's investment value? The answer is B. For calculating property taxes. Assessed value is determined by tax authorities to calculate property taxes. It is based on standardized criteria set by governmental bodies and does not necessarily reflect market conditions. Transfer of property. Title and deeds. What essential element must be present for a deed to be considered valid? Is it A. A witness signature, B. A legal description of the property, C. The property's market value, or D. An appraisal report? The answer is B. A legal description of the property. A deed must contain a legal description of the property to be valid. This description ensures the land is clearly and uniquely identified in the transfer of ownership. In the context of transferring property, what is a chain of title? Is it A. A series of past transactions affecting the property, B. A list of potential buyers, C. The current market value of the property, or D. A record of property tax payments? The answer is A. A series of past transactions affecting the property. A chain of title is a historical record of all previous owners and transactions involving a property. It ensures the current owner has a clear and marketable title. What does a warranty deed assure the grantee? Is it A. That property taxes are current, B. That the property is free from all liens and encumbrances, C. That the zoning is commercial, or D. That the property has no physical defects? The answer is B. That the property is free from all liens and encumbrances. A warranty deed provides the grantee with assurances that the title is clear, free from undisclosed liens and encumbrances, and includes a promise to defend against future claims against the title. Title transfer process. What is the purpose of a deed in the title transfer process? Is it A. To estimate the property taxes for the next fiscal year, B. To guarantee the market value of the property, C. To officially transfer ownership of real property from one party to another, or D. To list all previous owners of the property? The answer is C. To officially transfer ownership of real property from one party to another. A deed is a legal document that represents the transfer of ownership from the seller to the buyer. ensuring the buyer holds legal title to the property. Which of the following is a typical condition that must be met before the title can be transferred? Is it A, the seller must vacate the property? B, all outstanding liens on the property must be cleared? C, the buyer must complete a property inspection? Or D, the seller must provide a warranty for the property? The answer is B, all outstanding liens on the property must be cleared. A condition for transferring a clear title typically includes resolving any outstanding liens, as these are claims against the property and must be cleared before the transfer. What is a quitclaim deed most commonly used for in the title transfer process? Is it A, to transfer title with no warranties or guarantees? B, to guarantee that the property is free of encumbrances? C, to ensure the buyer against future title disputes? Or D, to provide a clear and marketable title? The answer is A, to transfer title with no warranties or guarantees. A quitclaim deed is often used to transfer property between family members or to clear up any little clouds on the title without providing any title warranties or guarantees. Escrow and closing. What role does a title search play in the closing process? Is it A, verifies buyer's creditworthiness? B, checks for liens and encumbrances on property? C, appraises market value of the property? Or D, secures homeowners insurance? The answer is B, checks for liens and encumbrances on property. A title search is a critical step in the closing process that examines public records to confirm the property's legal ownership and check for any liens, encumbrances, or other issues that must be cleared before the sale can proceed. What happens if there are outstanding liens on a property at closing? Is it A, transaction proceeds without changes? B, seller must settle liens? C, buyer assumes responsibility for liens? Or D, escrow agent removes liens? The answer is B, seller must settle liens. Before closing, the seller must settle any outstanding liens on the property to provide a clear title to the buyer. Unresolved liens can delay or prevent the transaction from closing. Which of the following describes a proration in the closing process? Is it A, a legal document transferring title? B, a financial adjustment for expenses? C, an appraisal valuation update? Or D, a credit score assessment? The answer is B, a financial adjustment for expenses. Prorations are financial adjustments made at closing to ensure expenses such as property taxes, homeowner association fees, and utilities are fairly divided between the buyer and seller based on the date the property is transferred. Recording and title insurance. Why is it important to record a real estate deed? Is it A, to notify the IRS of the transfer? B, to establish legal public notice of ownership? C, to invalidate previous deeds? Or D, to confirm the property's market value? The answer is B, to establish legal public notice of ownership. Recording a deed is crucial because it creates a public record of the property transfer, thereby ensuring legal recognition of the new ownership and protecting the buyer's rights against claims from prior owners. How does constructive notice affect real estate transactions? Is it A, it ensures all transaction parties receive actual notification? B, it automatically transfers property ownership? C, it acts as notice to the public via recorded documents? Or D, it provides a framework for property zoning laws? The answer is C, it acts as notice to the public via recorded documents. Constructive notice is a legal concept whereby the recording of documents in the public records serves as notice to everyone regarding the existence of those documents, such as property ownership or liens, thereby affecting the rights of third parties. What is the primary function of a title search in a real estate transaction? Is it A, to determine the property's market value. B. To identify any potential title defects or encumbrances. C. To prepare the title insurance policy. Or D. To negotiate closing costs. The answer is B. To identify any potential title defects or encumbrances. The primary function of a title search is to thoroughly review public records to uncover any issues, such as unresolved liens or ownership disputes, ensuring that the buyer receives clear and marketable title to the property. Settlement procedures. Which of the following actions does the Real Estate Settlement Procedures Act, RESPA, allow for promoting transparency in settlement services? Is it A. Providing a detailed loan estimate form to borrowers within 3 days of loan application? B. Requiring lenders to complete the appraisal process within 10 days? C. Mandating the immediate disbursement of loan funds? Or D. Setting interest rates on federally insured mortgages? The answer is A. Providing a detailed loan estimate form to borrowers within 3 days of loan application. RESPA ensures transparency by requiring lenders to provide a loan estimate within 3 days of a loan application, outlining all estimated settlement costs. This helps borrowers make informed decisions. What are kickbacks under the Real Estate Settlement Procedures Act, RESPA? Is it A. Unlawful referral fees paid in exchange for business with settlement service providers? B. Fees charged by real estate agents for representing buyers and sellers? C. Charges applied for late submission of settlement documentation? Or D. Mandatory costs for title insurance? The answer is A. Unlawful referral fees paid in exchange for business with settlement service providers. Kickbacks under RESPA are referral fees paid in exchange for business referrals within settlement services. These are illegal as they can lead to higher costs and reduced service quality for consumers. Under RESPA, what information must a lender provide to the borrower within 3 business days of receiving a loan application? Is it A. Loan estimate and your home loan toolkit booklet? B. Final closing disclosure and inspection report? C. Appraisal report and property survey? Or D. Complete lender underwriting guidelines? The answer is A. Loan estimate and your home loan toolkit booklet. RESPA requires lenders to provide a loan estimate and the Your Home Loan Toolkit booklet within 3 business days of receiving a loan application to help borrowers understand the costs and their rights. Real estate law. Federal laws affecting real estate. Which federal law protects against redlining and ensures all creditworthy applicants have equal access to credit? Is it A. Fair Housing Act? B. Equal Credit Opportunity Act? C. Real Estate Settlement Procedures Act? Or D. Community Reinvestment Act? The answer is B. Equal Credit Opportunity Act. The Equal Credit Opportunity Act of 1974 ensures that lenders cannot discriminate against credit applicants based on race, color, religion, sex, marital status, age, or because they receive public assistance. Which federal law requires lenders to explain the terms and costs of a mortgage loan using a standardized form? Is it A. Real Estate Settlement Procedures Act, RESPA? B. The Truth in Lending Act, TILA? C. Fair Credit Reporting Act, the FCRA? Or D. The Home Mortgage Disclosure Act, HMDA? The answer is B. The Truth in Lending Act, TILA. The Truth in Lending Act, TILA, requires lenders to provide a standardized form, commonly known as the loan estimate, which details the terms and costs associated with a mortgage loan. This ensures that consumers can compare loan offers. Which law protects prospective tenants from discrimination based on familial status in residential rentals? Is it A. Fair Housing Amendments Act of 1988? B. The Equal Credit Opportunity Act, ECOA? C. The Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA? Or D. Title IX of the Education Amendments Act? The answer is A. Fair Housing Amendments Act of 1988. The Fair Housing Amendments Act of 1988 expanded the protections of the Fair Housing Act to include discrimination based on familial status, thus ensuring that families with children cannot be unfairly denied residential rentals. Property rights and land use. Which of the following best describes a restrictive covenant? Is it A, a legal agreement that restricts the owner's use of the land? B, a zoning change requiring municipal approval? C, a lease agreement between a landlord and tenant? Or D, a tax imposed by the local government? The answer is A, a legal agreement that restricts the owner's use of the land. A restrictive covenant is a binding legal obligation written into the deeds of a property by the seller. It restricts the way property can be used. Which term refers to the government's power to take private property for public use? Is it A, police power, B, escheat, C, eminent domain, or D, inverse condemnation? The answer is C, eminent domain. Eminent domain is the legal process through which the government can force the sale of private property for public use with fair compensation. What is the primary function of a deed in real estate transactions? Is it A, to provide a mandatory structure for partnership agreements? B, to manage tenant and landlord relationships? C, to transfer ownership of real property from one party to another? Or D, to ensure compliance with building codes? The answer is C, to transfer ownership of real property from one party to another. A deed is a legal document that conveys ownership of real property from a grantor to a grantee, outlining the specifics of the transfer. Federal environmental laws and regulations. What main issue does the Resource Conservation and Recovery Act, RCRA, address? Is it A, water pollution, B, air quality, C, hazardous waste management, or D, wildlife conservation? The answer is C, hazardous waste management. RCRA provides a framework for the proper management of hazardous and non-hazardous solid waste from the point of generation to disposal. Which federal agency oversees the enforcement of the Safe Drinking Water Act, SDWA? Is it A, Food and Drug Administration, FDA, B, Environmental Protection Agency, C, Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA, or D, Department of Transportation, DOT? The answer is B, Environmental Protection Agency, EPA. The EPA enforces the Safe Drinking Water Act, ensuring the quality of Americans' drinking water by setting standards and overseeing states, localities, and water suppliers. What is the primary aim of the Clean Water Act, CWA? Is it A, to regulate emissions from mobile sources, B, to ensure hazardous waste sites are cleaned up, C, to restore and maintain the integrity of the nation's waters, or D, to protect endangered species? The answer is C, to restore and maintain the integrity of the nation's waters. The Clean Water Act seeks to eliminate harmful discharges of pollutants into U.S. waters and to achieve water quality that is both fishable and swimmable. Zoning and land use controls. What is the primary distinction between a zoning variance and a conditional use permit? Is it A, a variance is specific to changes in usage, while a conditional use permit pertains to property dimensions? B, a variance allows deviation from zoning regulations, while a conditional use permit allows specified uses under certain conditions within current zoning? C, a conditional use permit is permanent and a variance is temporary? Or D, a variance must be renewed annually, while a conditional use permit does not? The answer is B, a variance allows deviation from zoning regulations, while a conditional use permit allows specified uses under certain conditions within current zoning. A variance allows property owners to deviate from zoning regulations, often for hardship reasons, whereas a conditional use permit allows specific uses not typically permitted under current zoning regulations, but deemed compatible under certain conditions. What is spot zoning in the context of land use and zoning regulations? Is it A, an area designated for high-density residential buildings within a low-density zone? B, a hierarchy system within zoning prioritizing different land uses? C, changing zoning laws for a specific small parcel of land without considering broader zoning plans? Or D, a permit that allows certain activities not previously permitted in the zoning code? The answer is C, changing zoning laws for a specific small parcel of land without considering broader zoning plans. Spot zoning refers to the rezoning of a small area of land, often benefiting a single property owner, which differs significantly from the surrounding area and typically does not align with overall community plans. Which of the following best explains why a local government might downzone a property? Is it A, to increase the density and allow more building units per acre? B, to reduce the permissible density and limit development intensity? C, to ensure that previously non-conforming uses are maintained? Or D, to transform commercial zones into industrial zones? The answer is B, to reduce the permissible density and limit development intensity. Downzoning is the process by which a local government reduces the allowable density of development for a property, typically to control growth, manage resources, and preserve existing community character. Taxation and assessment. What is a special assessment in real estate taxation? Is it A, a tax levied for public improvements that benefit the property? B, an additional income tax on high-value properties? C, a tax refund issued to property owners in high-crime areas? Or D, a depreciation allowance for the property? The answer is A, a tax levied for public improvements that benefit the property. Special assessments are extra taxes levied on properties to fund public projects like road construction, sewer systems, and other improvements that benefit those properties. Who typically has the authority to appeal property tax assessments? Is it A, property owners? B, county clerks? C, real estate brokers? Or D, mortgage lenders? The answer is A, property owners. Property owners have the right to appeal their property tax assessments if they believe the assessed value does not reflect the true market value. When are property taxes due in most jurisdictions? Is it A, quarterly? B, monthly? C, annually? Or D, biannually? The answer is A, quarterly. In many jurisdictions, property taxes are typically due quarterly. This can vary, so it's important to check the specific regulations in one's area. Real estate math. Basic math concept. How is the gross income multiplier used in real estate? Is it A, to determine the property's potential rental income? B, to calculate the annual property taxes? C, to find the loan interest rate applicable to a property? Or D, to assess depreciation over time? The answer is A, to determine the property's potential rental income. The gross income multiplier, GIM, is used in real estate to estimate a rental property's value based on its gross rental income. This method is particularly useful for investors comparing multiple properties. What does net operating income represent in real estate investing? Is it A, total revenue before expenses? B, property appreciation value? C, net income available after deducting all operating expenses? Or D, gross rental income received? The answer is C, net income available after deducting all operating expenses. Net operating income, NOI, in real estate investing is the income generated from property operations after deducting all operating expenses, but before debt service and taxes, providing an understanding of the property's profitability. What term describes the percentage of the property's value that is paid in annual property taxes? Is it A, capitalization rate, B, tax rate, C, assessed value, or D, millage rate? The answer is D, millage rate. The millage rate is used to determine the property tax owed by multiplying it by the assessed value of the property, then dividing by 1,000. Calculations for property valuation. What is the primary focus of the income capitalization approach? Is it A, assessing market trends, B, estimating replacement cost, C, calculating future benefits and present value, or D, comparing similar property sales? The answer is C, calculating future benefits and present value. The income capitalization approach converts expected future income into a present value, often used for income-producing properties like apartments and office buildings. When utilizing the sales comparison approach, which of the following factors is not typically adjusted? Is it A, B, date of sale, C, original purchase price, or D, physical characteristics? The answer is C, original purchase price. The sales comparison approach adjusts for factors like location, sale date, and physical characteristics, but not for the original purchase price of comparables. In the context of property valuation, what does the term replacement cost refer to? Is it A, cost to reproduce an identical structure, B, current market value, C, cost to construct a similar utility structure, or D, the sale price of a comparable property? The answer is C, cost to construct a similar utility structure. Replacement cost refers to the expense of constructing a structure with the same utility rather than an exact replica, which might include modern materials and techniques. Loan and mortgage calculations. What does principal refer to in the context of a mortgage? Is it A, the total amount of interest paid, B, the amount of money borrowed excluding any interest, C, the cost of originating the loan, or D, the total amount of repayments made? The answer is B, the amount of money borrowed excluding any interest. In real estate finance, the principal is the initial amount of the loan, upon which interest is calculated and which must be repaid by the borrower. What is PMI, private mortgage insurance, and when is it typically required? Is it A, insurance required when a borrower defaults, B, insurance for properties with high market value, C, insurance on loans with less than 20% down payment, or D, government-backed insurance on all mortgages? The answer is C, insurance on loans with less than 20% down payment. PMI protects lenders against losses from borrower defaults. It is usually required when the borrower makes a down payment lower than 20% of the home's appraised value. How does an adjustable rate mortgage differ from a fixed rate mortgage? Is it A, interest rate remains the same throughout the loan term, B, payments are always lower on an ARM, C, interest rate changes based on a benchmark index, or D, ARM payments include additional fees that fixed-rate mortgages don't? The answer is C, interest rate changes based on a benchmark index. Adjustable rate mortgages have interest rates that adjust periodically based on a benchmark index. This can result in changing monthly payment amounts, unlike fixed-rate mortgages where the interest rate remains constant. Proration and closing cost calculations. If a property buyer closes on their new home on October 1st and property taxes are due annually on December 31st, who pays the prorated property taxes for the remaining months? Is it A, the buyer pays the prorated taxes for the remaining months, B, the seller pays the prorated taxes for the remaining months, C, the buyer pays for the remaining months at closing and the seller reimburses them, or D, Both buyer and seller split the prorated taxes evenly. The answer is C. The buyer pays for the remaining months at closing, and the seller reimburses them. At closing, the buyer assumes responsibility for property taxes for the remainder of the year and is reimbursed by the seller for the prorated share of taxes accrued up to the closing date. How are fire insurance premiums handled in closing cost calculations if the premiums are paid annually and the seller has prepaid at the beginning of the year? Is it A, the seller gets reimbursed for the prorated amount from the buyer? B, the buyer pays an additional insurance premium for the remaining year? C, the buyer cancels the seller's insurance and purchases a new policy? Or D, insurance premiums are not accounted for in closing costs? The answer is A, the seller gets reimbursed for the prorated amount from the buyer. In closing cost calculations, the seller who prepaid the annual fire insurance premium will be reimbursed by the buyer for the unused portion, ensuring fair allocation of costs. When prorating rental income at closing, what happens if the seller has collected the rent from tenants for the entire month but closes on the property midway through the month? Is it A, the buyer receives the rent for the entire month? B, the seller retains all the rent collected for the month? C, the rent is prorated and the buyer receives their portion at closing? Or D, the buyer and seller negotiate the rental split? The answer is C, the rent is prorated and the buyer receives their portion at closing. At closing, if the seller has collected rent for the entire month, the rent is prorated so the buyer receives their entitled portion for the days remaining in the month after the closing date. Investment and return calculations. Which of the following describes the internal rate of return, IRR, in a real estate investment? Is it A, the percentage of profit relative to the initial cost of the investment? B, the interest rate at which the net present value of all cash flows is 0? C, the ratio of annual cash flow to the total cash invested? Or D, the interest rate charged by banks for real estate loans? The answer is B, the interest rate at which the net present value of all cash flows is 0. IRR is a key metric used in real estate to estimate the profitability of potential investments. It is the interest rate that makes the net present value of future cash flows equal to 0, reflecting the project's expected rate of return. What does the net present value, NPV, indicate in real estate investment analysis? Is it A, the total net income generated by the property over time? B, the difference between the present value of cash inflows and outflows over a period of time? C, the annual income generated by the property minus operating expenses? Or D, the initial cost of the investment minus the loan amount? The answer is B, the difference between the present value of cash inflows and outflows over a period of time. Net present value, NPV, is a method used in evaluating the profitability of an investment. It represents the present value of future cash flows minus the initial investment cost, providing a dollar amount that indicates the expected gain or loss from the investment. Which of the following correctly defines the equity multiplier in real estate investments? Is it A, the total value of the property divided by the total mortgage debt? B, the ratio of total assets to total equity? C, the ratio of net operating income to property value? Or D, the annual return on investment divided by the property's gross income? The answer is B, the ratio of total assets to total equity. The equity multiplier is a measure of financial leverage in real estate investment, indicating the proportion of assets that are financed by equity as opposed to debt. It is calculated as total assets divided by shareholders' equity.
Thanks for joining us today. If you found this video helpful, subscribe to our channel for more practice exams, tips, and tricks. And don't forget to visit birdsey.ai for complimentary study sessions with Birdsey, your AI-powered study partner.